What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 18 of the Cinematic Boys podcast. Of course, I got my two lovely co-hosts here, Bilal and Sammy. How you guys
Witness
doing?
me for Walla.
Okay, I know what that was, but Sammy, how was your
So,
week this week?
it's been a week so far. It's not been bad. Just been chilling, catching up on some movies. Saw Civil War, finally. I thought it was pretty good. It's definitely like not what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it kind of took a while to get where it was going, but I liked what it was in the end. And Jesse, let's just give it a round of applause for Jesse Plemons. And then we're gonna also insert a clap sound effect here in post.
I'm not that good, my guy.
Where's clap, man?
No, I mean you gotta have both. It's both. It's like woo, like it comes in and
There we go. You happy now, Sammy?
I'm satisfied, and I gotta say it's been a great week. How you doing, Bilal?
I've been good. That's it.
What you mean? Is that it? That's it.
Dude, that's the thing.
Like the end.
Oh wait, you need to know what I watch. Oh,
The people want no. The people want to know how your week was.
My
What
week
you
was
been
good.
doing? You been everything fun?
I slept a lot this week and work.
Yeah.
It was just a normal week. Nothing special.
Hey, there you go.
I went to a circus.
Pretty cool.
That was fun. Got
Oh, what
scared.
circus?
Oh yeah, I saw that on your story.
Yeah. What story? You mean like on our Instagram group chat?
Or was it? Oh yeah, you put it in the Instagram chat. I forgot about that.
Did you see an elephant?
I wish.
Me
I
too.
saw clowns. I got scared. I hate clowns.
Yeah, I'd be scared too. Clowns are scary unless they're rodeo clowns. Rodeo clowns are fun.
I wish I could ride a clown.
Whoa, balls.
So,
Okay, but yeah, but how's my week going? There we go. We're gonna get right to that.
Dakota, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Work, of course. Of course, I saw Furiosa twice this week. One time with you and another friend of ours. So it's been great. Oh, Bilal, you're gonna be jealous.
What was?
The theater we went to, popcorn bucket and cup for Furiosa.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I got the merch you did. Haha. But
That was mean.
You could get a large popcorn with the purchase of any size Garfield movie T-shirt for only $24.
yeah, they did have that. No, to be honest, Sammy, the Regal we went to, that has changed a lot. I haven't been there since like when John Wick 4 came out. Totally
Dang,
changed.
yeah, that's probably about a year. Yeah.
Yeah. But oh, I forgot. How was your Memorial Day weekend, guys?
Yeah. It was a good time. Yeah. I mean,
I hanged out with some friends, went over to a friend's house, drank a couple of the adult beverages,
there you
talked
go.
about some movies. Borrowed some movies. So I need to still watch them, but I borrowed Bram Stoker's Dracula, Suspiria, Dario Argento's, and then Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson movie, his first ever
yeah.
movie. So I gotta get those watched and return those to him real quick. But besides that, the week's been good. But let's just get right into it, guys. What have you watched this week, Sammy? I'll let you go first.
I mean, like I said, I pretty much just saw Civil War, and then Furiosa twice. So excited to talk about Furiosa.
And Bilal, what have you watched this week?
Before I get into this, give me some of your thoughts on Civil War. I'm a little curious. Like some quick
Yeah, I
thoughts.
kind of am too a little bit.
I like spitfire some thoughts on that, bro.
Okay, so like, I liked what it was talking about in terms of like media and like the culture of like America, where you have this like weird limbo medium ground where people just like ignore reality, and it kind of highlights that and like some of the cities and like how they like get the news out and like how everyone's just kind of doing their own thing in certain towns, while in other cities there's like mass graves of people being murdered because they're not white or American. And I thought it was a really interesting like the directions it took, because I felt like they were very accurate, or it felt like what I would see if America did collapse in a civil war state.
Yeah.
My thing is, it took a really long time. Like, I felt like the first hour is just kind of like, okay, why is this taking an hour? That's kind of where I was with it. I also felt like I honestly wanted it to be a little longer, just so I had more context to the Civil War itself,
Yeah.
like what started it. More about, I wanted to see a little bit more with like each individual like alliance, especially since the marketing was really big on like how the U.S. looked. I felt like it was cool for like a background, and it's an interesting choice to have that for a background instead of the foreground. Um, but I like the message and the themes of it. I thought the performances were really good, um, especially Jesse Plemons. I don't know why, but that scene is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think Civil War does a great job of being intense. The sound mixing is loud and proud, and then like makes you feel like you're part of what's happening in the Civil War. But yeah, Jessica Plemons was absolutely outstanding there. But shout out to Kelly Spaney though, like she's rising up as an actress, and she's about to be in the new Knives Out movie. She just kind of casted for that, and obviously we're gonna see her later on in Alien Romulus. So shout out to Kelly Spaney. I want to show
And we'll
some
go
love
talk
here.
about that Knives Out news later.
oh, and she was so good in just in general in that movie. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like her character was really interesting. It was a cool dynamic. And like Kristen's performance is like very dry, but I like how it is by the end. Like, at first I was like, why is she so dry? But then when you see how her character grows and she starts to like see the full cycle of her influence and like how people choose to ignore that, but also like
Yeah.
how it's affecting her, it's really interesting to see like that whole transition. And then Kaylee Spaney's character is completely like becoming her. Like,
Yeah.
she's losing like the ethics of her job and is just wanting to get the shot and is getting obsessive.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the ending of that movie?
On what?
The ending of the movie, like the last minute.
I liked it because I felt like it just got to the point and it ended. I also felt like because I felt like if it built the Civil War like contextually more, it would have been a weird ending. But I feel like the whole movie, like the actual war, is just the backdrop of what's going on. Like, you're kind of just getting little pieces of the puzzle. You don't really know 100% like what happened, how it all went down. It's just kind of given to in spurts, or like in the beginning intro with the president's speech. So when it just ends, I kind of was just like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I don't really know like where it would go from there without adding like an extra like 30 minutes or something. And even then, like, the point is like America is no longer like whatever it is. It's just gonna be a new nation. So I feel like that was definitely an interesting choice. But I don't know. Like I said, I felt like a lot of it felt very like it felt like a reality, or it felt like, yeah, this is a very Western influence thing where like we can just ignore stuff and it's really like insane. Like, it's just like massive world events are happening, and that's happening right now too. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't know. I feel like it came out at a really good time to like have that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into this, I don't know if I said this before, but this is episode 18, guys, of the podcast. I'm not sure if I said it, but
And we're 2 away from the special 20th episode.
I don't know. We'll have a special 20th episode. I think it's special for the 20th episode.
It's just gonna be a normal episode, everyone.
20, man. That's just a
Oh,
traumatizing.
no, actually, it'll be
We're really
special. It'll
not
be Bad
going
Boys
there.
4.
No, hell no.
It'll be Bad Boys 4.
Not
That's
changing.
why it's so special. But Bilal, what have you watched this week?
Are you not entertained? That's I cut later. Again.
Yeah. You gotta quote as much as you can in this episode.
And then King Kong got shit on me as I trained day. Session 9. I don't know what quote it used for that one. I saw Hitman. Phenomenal. Furiosa. Remember her. Furiosa. She's a badass. Love Eddie Taylor-Joy as a character. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole.
So
spiel.
for me, you guys didn't even mention this one movie. I don't understand. We watched Bad Boys. Our review is up already, so you guys can go check that out.
Oh, I meant to say originally with my list I also watched the 1995 classic Bad Boys. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Classic, but
Go ahead, Dakota. Go back to my bad. Here, Dakota, go ahead and start from the beginning.
I also finally got to see, if you guys want to see Bilal's reaction right now, go watch the video. I finally seen Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, remember I did show the Letterboxd comment, bro. I was like, the comment.
Oh no, I gotta tell you guys this. This is so funny. Sam, you don't even know about this. This dude, I literally posted. He put, "I was on your ass." At first, I thought that comment was a little bit sus, but I'm like, "What the hell does he mean?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, I know what he means now." But of course, I watched Fury Road. Great, phenomenal movie. We would talk about that later. And I watched Furiosa twice. Once with my mom, and the other time with Sammy.
I saw Furiosa twice too. Once with my friend and once alone, because I know I have other friends.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it twice with my roommate. Which I mean, we had a very good time in the theater, and then I watched it with Dakota.
What you mean, very good time in the theater? Why do you say it like that?
What are you talking about? Me and my roommate can't enjoy ourselves in the theater.
I mean, y'all do, but like you said, kind of like suspicious, like a really good time in the theater. But like,
hey, Bilal, get your head out together, my man.
Yeah, Bilal, you read tone as much as much as you want. I mean, it's your world, man.
You know? I might analyze it, right? Analyze things, man.
Yeah,
but Bilal,
yeah.
let's get right into your review. I'm really excited about this. Tell us something about Hitman and your thoughts.
I'm gonna keep this spoiler free, but Hitman was such a blast in the theater. Every comedic moment really landed. Clamp Hell delivers such a diverse performance as he portrays these different disguises in this movie, but these disguises have different personalities to it, so he matches the energy of Ghost disguises extremely well. But I also really appreciate Arana Jona's performance because every time she says something in this movie, I was laughing so much. The romance between Clint Powell and her is excellent in this movie. And this movie is a simple story, but it's used so effectively. And I thought it was such a blast in the theater and such a refreshing take on this Hitman persona.
Okay, so I just want to do a little comments on this. I know you didn't watch the trailer right before this, right?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Bilal.
Okay.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Are you?
Okay, Bilal, I'm talking to you. Did you watch the trailer for Hitman before?
No.
Okay. I'm excited for this. One, George, shout out to George, watched this at the New York Film Festival, and Josiah watched it over in the UK. And they have been, I think both 4.5. No, Josiah gave it 5 stars. George gave it 4.5. So I was all really high on this. Then Sydney and Joe watched it at, I think it was South by Southwest that showed it. They absolutely loved it there. So that was even more hyped. And now where you watched it, I'm kind of mad because none of the local theaters down here, like around here, or even the chain theaters, had this for showing. And I'm mad because there's Sammy, there's a Cinemark right near us. And when COVID ended, the Cinemark would like to show a lot of the Netflix releases, kind of like Army of Dead. When they came out on Netflix, they did like a show like the week before. Or 2
like
weeks
the Irishman?
Or I think they did for the Irishman also. And it kind of pisses me off. I'm like, you could show this. And especially where you were here for the weekend, we could have go and saw that, because I wish you could see this in the theater, because like Bilal said and like what other people have said, this is mostly a good movie to watch in the theaters. But of course, it's a movie I think that it's adult-fied. Don't take your kids to, I've heard also.
Yeah, there's
but,
some. Yeah.
But of course, it's Linklater, and Linklater is always good because he done I only watched more of his filmography. I know he done Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite movies all time.
He also done Nacho Libre.
I love that movie.
I love Nacho Libre.
He did Nacho Libre?
I think he did do Nacho
I
Libre.
thought that no. I thought that was Napoleon Dynamite.
No, it's Nacho Libre. Linklater did
Whoa,
Nacho
whoa,
Libre.
whoa. Was it the same script writer then? Jared Hess. Who wrote the script? I gotta figure this out at a later date.
Bro, y'all missing one movie. They're School of Rock, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He didn't score. No, that was it. He didn't do Nacho Libre. That's what he did. I got the Jack Black mixed up. He also did the 4 trilogy.
No. Yeah, he
Boyhood.
did Nacho Libre, man.
Oh, did he do Nacho Libre also?
Yeah, Jared Hess. Yeah.
And he's also doing a movie with what's his name? Paul Mescal.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
You know, Boyhood. He took 12 years to film Boyhood. He's going to take 20 years to film this new movie of Paul Mescal.
Which is very. I think it's interesting how he dedicates a lot of his life for like one project.
But speaking of somebody who was dedicated his life for his whole life, George Miller, 1997 to 2024, Mad Max franchise.
Finally, I mean, it only took literally like almost.
But
30 years.
guys, the great segue below. So guys, we're gonna get right into it. Of course, the main part of our episode is that we're gonna be talking about the Mad Max franchise where Furiosa just came out.
The Bear Fast and Furious.
You just bitch what? Wait, what? This dude just bitched Fast and Furious and Mad Max together.
I mean, there's like racing there. I mean, there's like,
there's
like
cars
in it. There's cars.
There's cars. There's guns. There's attractive people. There's a lot going on.
It's George Miller.
They both have people that have boils.
Yeah, exactly.
You two, I can't deal with you two right now. But let's. So what we're going to do, guys? How we're going to start this is we're going to start from the first Mad Max all the way to Furiosa right at the end, and then we're going to piece up together and see how Furiosa and Fury Road compares with each other and how they connect. So me and Sammy didn't watch the original trilogy,
but I'd give the first one a 7.5 out of 10. So 3.5 stars. 4 for the second one, and a 2.5 for the third.
How do you know, Sammy? Have you watched them before?
No.
I thought you did, bro. Oh my god, you confusing the fuck out of me, bro.
But Bilal watched
that's what
them.
I would rank it. That's what I would rank it right now.
Without seeing them. Hold on. Give him one moment.
Okay. But I'm kind of mad I didn't watch these. Okay, to be honest with you, I started Mad Max yesterday. I got in the minute to it. I'm like, nah, not today.
No, I feel that. Sometimes it's just like you just don't have time or you're just not in the mood.
Wait, did you got the Black and Chrome edition?
What? Oh.
You got the Black and Chrome edition?
He's throwing them.
Can y'all cut this part out, please?
No, we're leaving this in.
No, we're not.
We're leaving this in. But guys, it looks like Bilal has a collection for us.
Yeah.
Okay, show us individually, like the people want to see them.
Okay. First one.
Ooh. I like that.
Second one.
Be honest, I don't.
Can you open that one?
Sure.
What, Beyond the Thunderdome?
There's like nothing special about it, bro.
No, especially there has to be artwork on Fury Road.
Dakota, why did you ask him to open that?
I didn't ask him, you did, okay.
Anyways.
But speaking of something, I got my 4K collection over here. It's just a little box set. But guys, if you haven't yet, Walmart's selling this right now. Definitely go check this out. It's the Fury Road Steelbook. They just like released this new artwork and everything. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was at our Walmart. So one copy left too, so I had to pick it up.
Yo, instead of me typing individually, do you just want me to rank all 5 of them?
No, Bilal, we want you to talk about them individually. No spoilers, though.
That's the hard part. Dang.
Okay, we know Max don't die. To be honest with you.
Start with the first one. This is George Miller's first ever movie, and it doesn't really have that Mad Max Fury Road feel to it. It does take place in a post-apocalyptic world, but doesn't really show that well. But I guess it's because of the time that this came out. But this movie has really solid car crashes and car sequences. The storytelling could get a little complicated. But Toy Cutter, played by the actor who played Joe in Fury Road, played the same villain in that movie with this movie, and he does a really stellar job as the main villain. And yeah, this is a really solid movie. And speaking of Max, he loves using a double barrel shotgun, as you could tell, and we see that back in another movie we'll talk about later.
Talk about the boomstick.
Yes.
Where did my camera go?
The second you threw the DVD,
my camera went off. What the heck?
Okay, second movie is so much stronger. It feels like a post-apocalyptic world.
Wait, hold up. Yeah, you can keep on going. Below hot knee fixes.
Anyways, the second one is called Road Warrior. This one is a lot better than the first film. It has that post-apocalyptic world feeling. The storytelling is more effective. Mel Gibson is more quiet in this movie, and you understand that from the events from the first film. And this guy, Humongous, right over here, is a menace. Right there. That guy.
Did you just say his name is Humongous?
Yes, his name is Humongous.
What's up with George and his names?
That's just what happens when you get blown back to the Stone Age.
Now, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. God, this movie.
Okay, fun fact, Bilal, I don't know if you knew this. George Miller was not the only director on that movie.
Yeah, he wasn't the only director, so you could really tell the different directing style of this movie. This movie does have a tone issue, but it's a very different story. It doesn't really click with me. There's some cool action in there, but my God, Mel Gibson with long hair is the cringiest thing I ever seen, bro. Like, oh my God.
No,
bro.
you gotta think he's filming Lethal Weapon at this time also.
That's the good point. I know it's the 80s, but damn, bro, I couldn't take this guy seriously with that long hair, bro. Anyways.
He needed a haircut. I think we can all agree in this stream right now that he needed a haircut.
No, but he was playing Murtaugh. I think it is a Murtaugh on Lethal Weapon. That's why he couldn't cut his hair.
Give him a wig.
Give him a wig. It's Mel Gibson. You don't give Mel Gibson a wig.
You pay him to wear a wig. You pay
bro,
him.
Mel Gibson, one crazy dude, bro. Like, you don't want to give a crazy guy a wig, bro. Chill, man. Anyways, the better actor, Tom Hardy, plays Max in the second last movie in the franchise so far. Mad Max Fury Road is an excellent piece of filmmaking. This movie is an objective movie of the character of Furiosa trying to go to the green place while bringing his 5 wives and get away from Immortal Joe. And I love that journey. And I love the fact that they made Max's like lone survival person that is like a dog in this movie. And also the action is elevated in a whole different level. I love the score. Everything about Mad Max Fury Road in my eyes is a perfect movie. Boom.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Fury Road?
Fury Road? Let me talk about Fury Road.
It's
quintessential.
Are we talking about spoilers or we're not talking about spoilers?
No, we're going to get our thoughts first.
Oh, shit, right. My bad.
It's peak action film. It's top 3 all time. It's up there with Die Hard. I'll die on that hill.
Okay, I haven't seen Die Hard. So.
The Raid.
What's up with you in the Raid, bro? That's my.
Bro, you have to watch it.
I haven't watched the Raid. I need to watch
Me either.
The Raid.
Like this dude loves the Raid for some
I've been
reason.
sleeping on the Raid.
You've been sleeping on the Raid.
So it's so good. I love how visual the movie is. It's just action through and throughout, but it's enough story to get by.
Yeah.
But I don't know where that came from. I'm so sorry. But with Fury Road, I feel like it's one of those things where like it makes you want to understand the universe even more,
Yeah.
even though they don't give you enough. But I like that, like the fact that you can sell me on it, and I don't know. I feel like everyone should watch it at least once.
But speaking on it, I like the fact that George Miller doesn't act like the audience is dumb. Because he doesn't have to tell every single thing about a storytelling. He wants the audience to figure some things out. And that's what I love about him as a director.
Especially with Happy Feet and
Oh
the
my
philosophy around how what
God.
are you
Where we come
I don't know
from?
how you guys from Mad Max to
why are
Happy
you
Feet.
discrediting Happy Feet?
It's a great movie, but we're talking about Mad Max. Man.
We're talking about an
George
auteur's
Miller.
work.
All right. You got a point there.
No. You guys got to think of this. This dude done Mad Max all 5, right? And he's going to do The Wasteland also. Most brutal ass movies out there.
He
He's done
did
Happy
Babe
Feet.
too.
That's what I'm going to say. He done Happy Feet 1 and 2. Then he done Babe. So for the original Babe, he wrote it and produced it, right? And he's like, let me direct the sequel.
And it's a weird movie. It's a cool movie, but it's weird. Very George Miller in a weird way. Like it's just very honestly, okay, weird statement time.
Okay.
I think George Miller would make a phenomenal live action adoption of a Dr. Seuss property.
Anyways, Dakota, what are your thoughts about Mad
No.
Max?
I didn't hear what property. What property?
I don't know.
Because-
I'm just saying, like, if you gave him like similar to like the Grinch, like I feel like he just has such a weird style.
No one needs to ever touch live action Grinch. Ron Howard
No.
did a
I'm
perfect
just
job with that.
I'm just saying in general, like something along those lines, like a higher end. I don't even know. I'd have to think about it.
Cat in the
I just
Hat.
think
You do that.
nah, Mike Myers is the hat with the cat.
That movie's awesome.
So back to regular scheduled programming.
Back to Fury Road. Okay,
What a great movie.
Oh, damn, that movie's so good. So, woo! Bilal's been cooking. He's been He's been on my ass to watch Fury Road, and boy,
can we go back to the cooking part? Like, how was I cooking exactly?
you were cooking because you've been talking about this movie, how it's amazing, how it's good, how it's one of the best action movies ever, and you're damn right it is.
Thank you.
Because
be careful and don't leave the stove on, okay?
No. Because you know
you've
why?
been cooking, dude.
Oh.
This dude literally looked to the side if you guys are watching other video and asked me to get the stove on.
What's so funny?
But back to what I was saying. Okay, the action, you can get straight off just like that. Okay, before the action is the shot of Max when he's on the ledge on the hill. It's the camera work, I think. I kind of wish that the first 3 were filmed now with the visuals that George Miller has had in Fury Road and Furiosa. Because I think it will look such like phenomenal and great. Because especially, I think he started below 79?
Well, 79. Yeah, 1979. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about this shot, bro. This
that shot.
Every movie should look like that.
I know, bro. Pete. But
like,
yeah, can I top it the shot for a quick second?
Yeah, you can.
All right. First of all, I love the shot that's like mixture of blue and orange, graded really well, and also like how badass Tom Hardy looks, like looking at the view, and then see him just eat up a lizard right in the opening. Spectacular, peak.
That's just how you start a movie. That's when it's like,
no.
Okay,
can we get before like even the movie starts?
Business.
You know this movie's metal as fuck when you get the Warner Brothers logo and you hear that fucking car engine and the the score.
Yeah.
In the edit, it cuts. It just like goes in and out to like
Yeah.
like an engine starting.
Bro, like, but
And it's like real quick, it's like boom, boom.
Yeah, but let's talk about like that. What's the title card of this movie? That was the hardest.
Oh,
title
I love
drop
that
I
title
ever
card.
seen. That was fire, bro.
Sammy just so you just froze.
I'm
dude.
sorry.
That's the
I'm
funniest
sorry.
thing
I had
ever.
to. I had to. It just came out of
That's the
nowhere.
funniest thing
I'm
ever.
so
But
sorry.
to be honest with you, let's talk. Like you talk about the title card for Fury Road. The one from Furiosa was kind of disappointing. I kind of wish they did a little bit better.
It was just kind of to the point.
It's no. The title card's literally what they put in the trailer.
But Fury Road was cool with the like the. I don't even know what to call it.
It's like it's kind of like the original
The brand,
Mad Max.
like the branding. It's the branding of Fury Road.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
But of course, like you get Ryan to, like you said, the shot amazing. That's the one thing I was thinking about when I was watching these two versus the old ones, which I need to still watch the old ones. Is he does such a great job, like making like, because you kind of like thinking like a fantasy of like that's just being like that orange color and the sun and everything, which in reality it's not. And I think that's what, especially like in Australia, people think that because this movies technically take place in Australia. So I think that's the perfect sign for that. And besides Mel Gibson and maybe Zoe Kravitz, do you realize that all of these people are like not American?
Yeah, because it takes place in Australia.
But the problem is Anya Taylor-Joy is not Australian.
Yeah, but that,
I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy is what? Australian, not Australian.
she's not.
Argentinian.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Charlize Theron is American also.
I feel like it's like there's a couple people, and it's really based off of George Miller's pick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Which you have to respect because he's Australian himself, so he could cast whoever he wants. So,
and
it's not a J.K. Rowling, so you know.
This is the craziest thing.
How she like casted like specifically everyone was British.
Emma Watson was.
No.
That's why Emma Watson was American.
No, she's
British.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone in the cast had to be British. Like that was
Yeah.
like her like thing with casting everybody. It was like
You want to talk about
British.
You want to talk about George Miller casting? This is the craziest thing ever. When he was casting for Fury Road, he looked at Rihanna as one of the, I think, the wives. He looked at Eminem as Max. Because I think like what Mel Gibson was that he became, he's like, I need a guy like that. And then he's like, because he saw in the, this is how it happened. He worked with Brittany Murphy on Happy Feet. And she's always talked about Eminem, how he did such a great job on 8 Mile. And George Miller thought he watched his performance 8 Mile. He's like, yes, this is the guy that could be our next Max. And he was thinking about having Max do the blonde hair thing like Eminem had at the time. And like the craziness that Eminem had before he, of course, like went on rehab, where he was on the drugs. But it would have been weird to think of that. Because
I'm glad
I was thinking the only person who Rihanna could have done was Zoe Kravitz's character, to be honest with you.
Well, also I don't know. I kind of like that it's given to like people that were like more up and coming at the time, especially someone like Nicholas Hoult. Like I feel like his performance.
I love Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, Nicholas Hoult was great, man.
And this is one of his first breakout films that really put him in a spotlight and in that conversation.
Yeah. I could never pronounce his character's name though. Is it like no?
His name is
Is it Noel?
Noel?
Noel, yeah, Noel.
Noel, okay.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think it's Noel.
It's Nux Noel.
It's Noel.
No.
I don't know. It just said no.
No, it's that one scene. I was waiting for that scene of "It's a lovely day."
Oh yeah,
it's a lovely day.
Are we talking about spoilers though?
Dude, everyone has about watched Fury Road. I hope they have. Okay, to be honest with you guys, if you haven't watched Fury Road, it's been out for 9 years.
Stop listening to this. Stop watching this.
Whoa. You still need to
Listen.
listen to this, man.
Well, no. You listen to it, but drop what you're doing if you haven't at this point in the podcast. Drop what you're doing and go watch this movie, and then come back and listen to this.
Have
right
already
here.
watched
Come
it,
back
go watch
here
it
right now.
Yeah, but you know what I love about Fury Road the most? Having this story just works with Charlize Theron's Furiosa. She has to get these sex slaves out of Martin Joe and go to the Green Place. It wouldn't be right if Max did that. It makes sense to have the character of Furiosa have this objective to care about these to get these sex slaves out of the situation that they are in. You know?
I feel like it's a testament to like Max too, because he chooses to like help the whole time. He decides to like not think about himself at some point in the film
Yeah,
and starts investing in them. But I also think it's like a cool theme for Max, considering like he feels like he's gone, he feels like he's lost, and everyone else in the world like there's no hope, and he believes there isn't hope. But like out of everyone in the movie, he has the most character. With like with him and Furiosa, I would say.
Yeah, but you know what I love about Max in this movie? Tom Hardy doesn't talk that much in it.
Okay, it's a George Miller thing. That is a George Miller thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a George Miller thing, but like having Max not talk much, but still have such an emotional layer performance by Tom Hardy is something really great about this character. But especially it makes sense in the beginning that he doesn't want to talk about it much because in the beginning he gets addictive and he's like a dog chained to these people like in the Citadel, right? So it's like he's having like these visions of the dead. He's like an insane person in this movie, and you really understand his perspective. But he doesn't trust Furiosa right off the bat. There's a scene where Furiosa asks Max, "What's your name?" He doesn't even reply. He says, "It doesn't matter." But as soon as Furiosa's about to die, Max is like, "Oh yeah, my name is Max now."
It's just so casual too, though.
Yeah, it was so casual, but like it took him so long to tell Furiosa his name, and it took him that long to gain her trust. And you really understand in the wasteland, it's really hard to trust anyone because there's so many people who are so selfish to gain power in the wasteland.
But also, I feel like the movie does a good job of breaking like structural norms for a movie or like a script in general. Like for example, like you said, like with the name coming in that late in the movie, like there's not really any movie or a lot of movies where like the name of the person of the protagonist that you've watched for 2 hours comes in at an hour and 45 minutes to then like say their name for the first time. Or like the intro, even like he has his car, the signature look, like we're all like, okay, you know, we're back. Here's more Mad Max. He's got his car, and they destroy his car within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and it's just destroyed.
Exactly.
And you're just like, okay, but it's almost like, okay, let's take something that the audience would love and destroy it in front of them, and show them something that's completely new that they're gonna want to see. Exactly. And it's almost like setting that up, and it's like it's such a risky move, but it pays off like so well here, and it honestly boosts the script for being even more original and like approaching that.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that for a 20-30 year later sequel.
And you gotta applaud George Miller for that. He has his own vision. He wants to tell his own story, his own perspective. But at the same time, he wants to make this badass action movie. But deep down, it is more so a character study of Furiosa. This is a Furiosa movie, more I think about it. And Max is like a supporting role. And once we know more about Furiosa in the Furiosa movie, like when we see Mad Max Fury Road, you see Furiosa be this tough character, but she's trying so hard to not show her emotions in the film. And during that scene when she finds out the green place is camitated and her taking off her arm and just slowly just getting all of her emotions out. You're like feeling so bad for that character. You empathize with this character that she's just losing all of this hope that she had. And it's the best shot in the film in my eyes. And what do you think about that sequence during the film?
Oh, I'd say it's easily like at least top 3 moments in the movie, especially with the sand and the way it just flows and like it's kind of like it's just the movement of everything. Like it's just very like it was intended to stand out. It was made to be a moment. It wasn't part of a structured sequence, and that was the end of it. Like you could tell there was a lot of thought for the character there. There was a lot of thought for like how to capture the shot, how to get the sand like flow to look right. Um and it's color graded really well. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Overall, it's one of the best scenes in the movie, and I think it's one of my favorite shots in like the
Yeah.
last 10 years.
Oh,
Easily.
I 100% agree. But speaking of the color grading, I love that nighttime is blue and then during day it's orange.
I love when
So
movies do that. I love when movies do that.
go back. Are you talking about the scene of when she finds out the green place is not
Yeah.
around him? Okay,
Yeah.
so once we get into Furiosa, I want to talk about how that scene hits a little bit more after watching Furiosa. And you two probably understand what I'm going to say with this.
You know, I
Once we
think
get to
I know
that,
that. I think I'm picking up the direction that you're going in.
okay. But like you guys were saying, then the night, when it turns night, the blue, because you know how most movies it does just like straight up dark, like pitch black. I think that's like what you said. George Miller does such a great job, I think, with the camera work in this and like the coloring and the lighting and stuff. It's a visual. Not only has like a story to it, and like you guys were talking about how Hardy doesn't have like I think it's like 30 lines in this movie or less than that, but you get the story of like Charlize Theron, which to be honest with you, Bilal, I agree with you of being a Furiosa story also. And I will talk about that later of why people don't like Furiosa that much or not wanting to go see it. But overall, it's just George Miller focused more on visuals. It's kind of like he's a filmmaker of kind of like the oldest, like the 70s and like not the 70s, but like the 40s and like the 50s. More of the show and not tell
Yeah.
type. And I kind of like that because a lot of movies now, the only director I think that mostly does this also is Denis. But it's more of the show and not telling. A lot of people don't like that in these movies. And I appreciate that really much because it kind of tells like the story of it, especially once you hit the combo of Furiosa and Fury Road after Furiosa's come out now. Of because there's some visuals in the Furiosa that tell the story of what's going to happen in Fury Road, and like the opposite of what we find out in Fury Road happens in Furiosa. And I just love how it is because just mostly that though. I just love how George Miller does these movies. It's like a visual intake. It's most like a theater experience, like how they always said this is a theater experience movie. Go see this IMAX and stuff. Because I always thought more of this was a sound theme for IMAX, but
Yeah.
especially after watching the second time with Sammy, I appreciate the visuals a lot more. I don't know if that was just us watching the RPX and having like a better shot on the screen, but it's like he knows what to do because like you in the straight up desert, kind of like at the beginning of Fury Road, he has you could like you were talking about the orange and stuff, but it's like there's not only a Furiosa, but like in Fury Road when they're on the actual Fury Road, it's like they like lighten the tone a little bit, and I kind of appreciate that because like there's action sequences like you don't need it to be visualized right there. But if it's not like a visual scene, kind of like how Furiosa and like Max are talking when they're trying to move away, where and Morton Joe is coming after them, and it's just that visual of them sitting there, and it's the nighttime, and I really appreciate that because it's like I think not only the score, the visuals, and the dialogue in this movie
Yeah.
meshed together and give a good story for this movie.
Yeah. And speaking of the theater experience, do you guys wish they showed Fury Road, like re-release Fury Road in theaters before Furiosa?
No,
Like
I want a double feature.
yeah. And also speaking of Murder Joe, this is one disgusting piece of filth of a villain. He's gonna make these war pups and get these sex slaves to do that. And if the sex slave gets a baby that's a girl, that's gonna be a future sex slave. But if it's a guy, it's gonna be a war boy. And that's such a disgusting villain. But the way he gets his power is disgusting, but at the same time you'll understand it, right? He is dealing with disease in I think in Fury Road, and he still wants to be the top guy still.
And I think a lot of that just goes to highlight how George Miller like captures humanity in these movies, especially now more with the modern interpretations. Like I really feel like he dives into like the filth and the grime and like how awful humans can really be in like different conditions or like at heart. You know what I mean?
Um, so I have a question. So what's y'all some of y'all favorite like scenes, shots from Fury Road? Like, give me your top three favorite shots if you got that.
Okay, Joe's death is the craziest thing I've ever seen in a movie ever. It's
Remember me.
so, it's so hard, and then you just see it rip off, and you're like, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, speaking of Joe's death, and speaking of this movie being a Furiosa movie, seeing Tom Hardy's Max just leave during the end of the film and just like leave Furiosa with a Citadel, that implies to me this is a Furiosa movie even further. And I'm interested to see what they do with Wastelands. I've seen Furiosa be like find his home, be the Citadel. But I forgot to mention one thing about Emergent Joe. I love how he treats the poor people like shit. He gives them a water, makes them look like clowns in the film in the beginning, and it makes you dislike the villain right off the bat.
It just gets it over with, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like the movie definitely has like a very different tone compared to Fury Road.
Yeah. But actually, one of my favorite shots is the sandstorm scene. Like this shot is
Yes, the sandstorm is so good, dude.
that shot is so fucking beautiful to look at. That could be like my desktop thing on my computer. But we have not talked about Nell, who had the best characters. Wait, what?
Well, you never asked me my scenes.
Oh, right, my bad. Go ahead.
Of course, the beginning with Max. I love that scene, the color grading and everything. 2 is probably where Furiosa finds out that the wasteland, not the wasteland, but the green place is not anymore, and she's just screaming in that field, not the field, but like the sand dune. And the 4th, it's the explosion at the end, the big old tractor trailer, war
Yeah.
rig, the explosion of that. And to be honest with you, to talk about how metal this is, I think it's the dwarf dweller or wherever that thing is, the guitar dude.
Oh yeah, the guitar.
I love the sound of it because you know how they're so far away. It's when Max gets out of the thing, and him and Furiosa have the standoff, and she tells him he needs to get the muzzle off, and you hear the guitar in the background, and you
Yeah,
know they're coming. It's like an eeriness a little bit.
yeah. Um, what's I gonna say again? I forgot what I was gonna say.
You talk
Oh,
about
you were
no.
gonna talk about how?
You talk about no.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Anyways, I love that Noel have such a great um redemption arc in this movie. First of all, Noel was working with Murder Joe. In the beginning of the film, he wanted to um, ride, the thing with Tom Hardy on it. Um, he has put his friend just to ride that thing, which was kind of badass. But I did like that little flash before he headbutts his friend, which was something interesting in this film. I like that stylistic choice. But Nell was just trying to impress Murder Joe so much because Murder Joe is a god to these people. He is this, oh, Wahala, this is my god kind of thing. They're like, they'll sacrifice their lives for Murder Joe. He has that power. So seeing that switch up when the wife was pregnant and Nell saw what happened between the wife and Murder Joe and felt sad because he understand what these women are going through, and he's like, oh shit, I'm on the wrong side. I'm going to switch it up and become in the right side and help these women get the situation. And that's what I love about this movie. And his sacrifice hits, man. Why does he have to die, bro?
And I just feel
No.
like his character's role in like building the religion that the Citadel's established is also really interesting, and it plays a lot into like how far people will go for faith just to feel like just to have love and to feel like there's a purpose. And it's like you watch him go through this journey of trying to like find the purpose or like a better world outside of what he's around.
Yeah,
And it ends up just being like his mindset changing rather than his environment.
yeah. Yeah, I
No,
agree. Go ahead, Dakota.
I I want to talk about the scene. I love the scene of when he's like, Morton Joe, and he does the symbol. He looks over him. He's like, oh, he looked at me. He looked at me. And
Yeah.
he's like, he's just looking your blood back. He's like, no, he actually looked at me. He acknowledged me.
And
Yeah.
he's getting all hype.
Bro. Yo, remember the fight scene in the beginning? Well, sorry, in the beginning with Tom Hardy, Furiosa, and Noel. That fight sequence was like a little bit hand to hand. It was something really cool, like especially with like driving these vehicles, having these crazy action scenes. Seemed like a cool little hand to hand fight scene was really awesome scene in this movie.
And it's just cool to see like how versatile it is with action too. Like it's not just I feel like a lot of movies like pick and choose. Like, okay, is this a gun movie? Is this a more hand to hand combat movie? You know what I mean? And this movie is kind of a jack of all trades,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to car combat. Like I love how everyone in this universe approaches vehicles not just as like, okay, I'm in the driver's seat. Like they crawl over, they repair it while it's driving. Like
Yes.
it's very much like this understanding of a vehicle that's a lot more respected than like how we actually look at our vehicles.
Yeah, and speaking of repairing, there was a sequence where the vehicle got stuck. And the tension is rising, the bad guys are coming, and then there's a scene where Tom Hardy kills someone that was off screen, and one of the wives says, "Are you okay?" And then Furiosa's like, "It's not his blood," and I'm
And
Oh,
like,
that's
yes,
even
I remember
harder.
that.
It's so hard, dude. Like
"Yeah."
it's crazy.
Oh, Dakota, go ahead.
No, but like what you said, I kind of like that because it shows like Max is like, even though he don't get that much screen time in like Fury Road, even though it's a Mad Max movie, it still shows that he is brutal. And even though I haven't watched Mad Max the original, I know what happens, and I kind of love the dream sequences that he has, the nightmares
Yeah,
of his daughter, because of course she did get killed, and before I think all this apocalyptic stuff happened in the original Mad Max, but it kind of shows because like Furiosa didn't care about him at all.
yeah.
and it shows you like through the movie, especially when he gets that first or second nightmare. She's like, "Are you okay?" It kind of shows like that relationship that they have for each
Friendship.
other in this. Yeah, like the relationship, the friendship.
Same shit.
Yeah, that they have in this because it's like I got your back, you got my. Especially it shows at the end, especially like when Furiosa is dying and the IV so she can stay alive
Yeah.
because I kind of always thought I'm like throughout the movie I noticed that he had the IV tube on his shoulder. I'm like, is this going to come into play soon?
Yeah, like that's another thing about George Miller. He does foreshadowing really well. Like you have to pay attention to the smallest details to get a full scope of the film. But I like the way the movie ends with Furiosa just gave me that nod to Max, so they have their respect with each other. That's another thing I love about this movie. Also, in the final battle, Tom Hardy's Max gets a vision before it gets hit by the bolt, and takes a while to get up. And you see that still haunting him. I like that scene where Tom Hardy's Max is like, they don't have enough gas, right? So it goes full circle to the Citadel. Tom Hardy's Max is saying, home is the Citadel. You have to go back and stop remembering Joe. And seeing that badass handshake between Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, because like what you said, I kind of like that because he's like, you can go for 100 miles that way, and he's like, you don't know where you're gonna go there, but you know if you go back that way,
Yeah.
you
And
know there's something over that way.
yeah.
And that kind
And
of builds with like Max's character too,
yeah.
like wanting to help out and be a genuine person.
And actually, speaking of the sequence, back to the green play sequence of Furiosa, when she meets her people and 20 years later, I like the fact that Furiosa has a 15-year gap, 15 to 20-year gap. So it sort of starts in the beginning but ends right before the events of Fury Road.
I also like that because I feel like by the end of the movie, Anya's earned that position to be at that point in the canon. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I
Are
really
we
like
talking
the
about
way,
Furiosa right now?
yeah, specifically the how it connects to Fury Road's beginning.
Spoilers, guys, if you haven't watched Furiosa yet.
Actually,
Um,
we're not spoiling too heavily. We're just saying that the point of that sequence goes from
And I
the
want to
big.
talk about that sequence later on because there's something that this Furiosa does as a prequel that is so much better than other prequels. And me and you talked about it, Sammy.
Yeah, but also like that they tease Dementis during that sequence too. They talk about Dementis a little bit. We get like a little bit backstory of Furiosa. It's like, oh, I was taken as a child, and then the next film we see what happens to Furiosa,
I
and I
love
like,
because perfect example, like you said below. Like we know she gets taken in Fury Road, but we always think it's a Morton Joe that took her when she
yeah,
was little. But it's like we finally like have it flushed out that Dementis actually took her,
yeah.
and it
Um,
always gets to me because she could have ran away, but what were we
yeah.
saying?
I was about to say, I do I do appreciate Fury Road so much because this is like a really great representation of women. It's no forced diversity. It shows how badass these women are to fight back, and it's so cool. Because we don't see a lot of dialogue between the five wives that are in this film, but you're like, oh yeah, these women could fight back. They're strong, and I love that George Miller does that. But the sequence that just haunts me all the time is when the pregnant wife gets killed and well, before she falls, Emergent Joe crashes his car, and he's crashing his car to save her, quote unquote, save her to get a kid out. And the way he gets a kid out, just cutting her stomach, still kills me, bro.
Yeah, it's a gross scene.
It's
It's hard to
gross.
watch even without seeing it all. Like it's just a very like it's the thought
Ugh.
and this yeah. Yeah.
But I also like the sequence when after Tom Hardy kills that guy, he's just asks Furiosa, "What is this? It's mother's milk," and just cleans his face with mother's.
I do remember that. That was funny. But that's kind of like I think the Australian humor that Miller puts in these movies, because like that's not American humor whatsoever.
Yeah,
You don't hear that over here in America. That sounds like something Australian
America.
Yeah,
people would do.
we don't allow that here. We don't
Um,
accept that in our movies.
but we gotta remember that Fury Road was going through like this movie almost didn't get made. Let's be real.
It's a
This,
miracle.
it's a miracle that this movie got made because wasn't it written in like 1988 something
And I
some
think MGM was making these movies at the time also.
yeah it was MGM. It was built in 1988. Well, the script was done in 1988. Then Mel Gibson got into controversies, and then they were about filming in 2001. Then 9/11 happened. Then that couldn't happen. They were trying filming in the desert, Australia, and then rain started happening. And then Warner Bros. Wasn't giving them like the rights for it for a while until Warner Bros.'s um, CEO got fired. Then the new CEO gave in George Miller the gears, and then this movie was made. It is insane that George Miller, even though the luck was on his side, he still was committed for this franchise. It shows his passion for it. And George Miller's the GOAT because of that.
Oh, and it shows in his work too. It just shows that like the extent of how much he thinks about and like cares about this universe.
So is that mostly it for you guys for Fury Road?
Yeah, at least on my end.
I think that should be enough. Yes, we gotta talk about Furiosa. We got like an hour into this, man.
So guys, we're going to talk about Furiosa right now. This is the latest movie in the Mad Max saga. Of course, this is also directed by George Miller. This stars Anya Taylor-Joy and I was about to say lovely Chris Hemsworth, but
He is lovely though.
he's good though, especially in this movie.
No, he's
But
lovely.
He is a lovely person though. Like he's not lovely Will.
he's actually nice in real life, to be honest with you.
What do you mean the not lovely Chris Hemsworth? Like what you mean by that, huh?
Yeah, like why? What are you really trying to say?
Well, are you serious right now?
Can we talk about Furiosa, guys?
Yeah, Furiosa. Yeah. Who wants to talk about their thoughts first though?
Bilal, no, let's get Bilal. Bilal is the Furiosa guy.
Yeah, I've been talking the most about Fury Road, so yeah. Anyways, I love that this movie takes place before. Okay, Furiosa does a great job of showcasing Furiosa's past, showcasing the struggles that she's been through. You'll really understand the character. It's a really strong character study. I love that George Miller has this bold decision of not showcasing Anya Taylor-Joy in the first hour of this movie. Just in the halfway point of this movie, Aliyah Brown does a great job as the younger Furiosa. Chris Hemsworth, man, charming as a villain, but switches his gear up being this menace in the same time. And seeing that balance that he does makes his performance that incredible. And once we see Anya Taylor-Joy in this movie, the transition from what's her name? Aliyah Brown, I believe.
No, it's Aliyah Brown.
Aliyah Brown to Anya Taylor-Joy is fantastic. It feels earned. The action's obviously really strong in this movie. I must say it isn't as great as Fury Road, but it doesn't really have to be. And I love the story is like a 15 to 20-year journey of Furiosa. And we finally see this Furiosa grow to the Furiosa we see in Mad Max Fury Road. But the main thing I love about this movie is its different storytelling. This movie has different chapters in this movie of Furiosa's life, and each chapter is so well thought out and really cares about the source material, cares about the character of Furiosa, and cares about this franchise as a whole. And George Miller does an excellent job of showing that.
And I think it, like you were saying earlier, how very different it is from Fury Road. I think that's what really highlights this movie for me. I think a lot of the tone is a lot darker here, which is a weird way to phrase it, but like honestly, I feel like this just feels like a darker movie. It balances with a lot of tones and like themes of like hatred and revenge. If I had to compare it like story wise, it's very similar to like The Last of Us Part Two,
Oh yeah.
and like Ellie. And I feel like Furiosa is very much inspired, at least in this film. Like her character is similar to Ellie, just more contained. I like how Anya interprets Furiosa as a
Yeah.
whole. I also like I do not know the name of the actor that plays her as a child. I feel like she was phenomenal.
Oh,
Elijah
yeah,
Um,
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, she was phenomenal. And I just felt like Anya Taylor-Joy just really stole the show in this movie. I
Um,
really love Chris Hemsworth too. I think it's his best acting of his entire career. I'm excited to see him get more work out of this.
yeah.
And the guy who played Jack, Tom Burke, right?
Tom Berg, yeah, he was fantastic.
I love Jack. I think Jack is one of the most underrated characters in the movie. Um, I kind of like the parallel that the movie does to show that he is essentially what helped birth Furiosa, in a sense of like being a figure, like a father figure, or like somebody that like,
Father figure.
I wouldn't say father figure. I'd say somebody to like look up
Oh,
to. I'd say like somebody to look up to, like somebody that's like a leader, like somebody
yeah.
that's like guiding them. That came out a little strange. I'll take that back.
I was
My
confused.
apologies.
Wait, are
Father
we talking
figure.
about
Yeah.
Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like Jack was like a leader
Father.
figure for. Yeah, I didn't mean father figure, but more of like a leader figure.
Bro, I thought they were the same
Whoa.
age, bro. I was confused,
I
man.
thought he
Same
was
age.
older. No, he's older. There's
No,
no way
no,
he ain't
he
older.
is older. Bilal.
I mean, he's not like old or like he to be a dad.
He's got at
To...
least like 10, 15 years, I would say. Like,
Oh yeah, you got a point there.
but
Tom Burke is 14 years older than Nia Taylor-Joy.
Oh what? He's a very handsome man. What? What?
that's what he is, a very handsome man. But what I guess what I meant is like his role, especially is what Furiosa becomes. Like I love the parallel shot whenever they meet. It echoes Fury Road whenever Mad Max meets Furiosa for the first time.
You want to talk about this to me?
Dakota, go ahead, bro.
But I love this movie. I've seen it twice already. I'm gonna go try to see it a third time again. This is just a phenomenal. It's one of the best prequels ever. To be honest with you, it tells Furiosa's story great. Like you said, this is marketed mostly that we get a lot of Anya Taylor-Joy in this, but Elijah Brown in this does an amazing job with what she has got and what George Miller has to give her in this movie. Chris Hemsworth, this is his career's best performance so far. He some people says I kind of reminds me of, he has a little bit of the Joker in him, like what Heath did. He's not like the best villain of all time though, but he, like I said before, this is Chris's best performance. I like him as a villain because you can kind of like see a switch of being like the nice guy to the mean guy to the really demented, like fucked up guy that he has become from being in the wasteland. And I kind of like that they showed a lot of characters in this from Fury Road, because not a lot of prequels do that.
Yeah.
Because we get like a Morton Joe in this, which I appreciate that, especially the story of how she gets to the Citadel. But overall, and like I've just like repeated, the visuals, the soundtrack in this, like the begin, it's these two movies. In the beginning, you get the loud music score and the car engine at the beginning of this. I appreciate that, and especially like the film. This is a film by George Miller. It already shows you what this is. But the only problem I have is not like a spoiler, like I already said before. It's that title card for Furiosa.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't ruin the movie.
I wish they did show it at the beginning. You know how in Fury Road they showed a little bit of the footage. Dan showed the title card.
Yeah, like after like Max gets like captured and they show.
Yeah,
it.
I kind of wish they did with that Furiosa, except just like show it straight off.
Yeah.
See, my problem was some of the CGI in the movie, and I've read that he claims it's a style.
Oh, it's the style.
But there's some scenes where it's just really noticeable, and like I feel like the way he shot some of the shots in Fury Road, it works and it echoes his older style. But here, like it just doesn't. It looks like 20 years old. It doesn't look as good. I don't want to say for everything. Like for example, like the dogs. Like I don't really understand why they didn't just hire.
That was
like
me and you did
the
notice
dogs
that.
look terrible, or like there's one scene where the rig's hanging at the bullet farm, and it's very like it comes out of nowhere, and you're just very like, what? Like what? That's the final product, like. And in some scene, like I said, in some scenes it works fine, and the CG looks really good, and it's noticeable, but it doesn't take away from it. But there were a couple scenes where I was like, that's really what y'all ended on the budget with?
Honestly, bro, like I didn't really mind CGI that much, especially with CGI workers having like such a hard schedule to get through. It was always like a miracle to have CGI look so good in this like day and age.
I mean, yeah, but my argument is like if you have $170 million budget and your director is choosing to do that instead of taking the time to actually flesh it out, like they're making it a choice for it to look bad, like that to me doesn't like. I don't care if it's George Miller or not. Like I just don't think it just doesn't look good. That's just me personally, and I'm not saying that's the whole movie. Like for example, like when they're in the Citadel and stuff, like it looks fine. Like it looks like it's viable. It works. But like I said, were a couple scenes where I was like, y'all could have really just like touched this up a little bit more. And I'm not saying a VFX artist 100%. I'm saying at the end of the day, it's a director's choice on whether or not they want to take the time to do that and give the VFX artist space to do that.
Yeah.
And if they chose to rush it out and chose to not do that, that is a flaw of the director. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, give it the time that it needs and let those VFX artists have the time to make your movie what you want it to be. But if that's what he likes, that's what he likes. I mean, that's to each their own. He's the one making money off a movie. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. I like, honestly, I didn't really mind it. It didn't look bad to me at all, other than the crane sequence. I think that was the only.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's stuff like that where it's like why? Like, why didn't you just let them take their time?
Yeah. Anyways, are we talking about spoilers now, or?
Yeah, I think about knowing my
That's
thoughts.
the real question.
So, guys, if you haven't watched Furiosa yet, I don't know what
you're watch it now. It's peak.
Stop what you're doing right now. Drop everything. Come back to this.
Bro, don't stop saying that, man. They gotta watch this episode. We gotta get the clicks, fam.
They're gonna watch it. They're gonna get more than one.
This man just said drop everything. They're gonna just drop their phone on the ground. If
you didn't watch Fury Road or Furiosa, you already went back and watched this or listened to it 3 times. Thank you.
But guys, with that being said, if you guys haven't watched Furiosa yet, go out to the Furiosa. We'll talk about Furiosa.
Louder.
Furiosa.
Louder.
You kind of cut out at the beginning.
I can't say it too loud. You know why? But if you guys haven't watched Furiosa yet, go to the theater, watch this, because I will tell you guys later on why you guys should go to the theater and watch this. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about some spoilers. Who's up first?
The ending.
No. I'm gonna wait till the
the
ending.
ending,
Talk
bro.
about the ending at the end. Why you talking about the ending at the end?
Okay,
No, okay.
I'm gonna start off right. I love Chris Hemsworth as his teddy bear during the whole movie. Gives the teddy bear to Furiosa because he
Lil
has
D.
Lord D. That sounds so suspicious, bro. I'm not
Why
going.
did he do that? It's like Lil D, Little Dementus. I'm like, you know her name is Furiosa. I'm like, why the hell do you just call her Lil D?
Anyways, the teddy bear. He gives it to Furiosa, because he had kids in his past. But the scene that he loses his humanity is doing that deal with a Murder Joe and get rid of Furiosa. That's the point, breaking point of Dementus becoming this more evil villain. In my eyes, at least.
It kind of is funny because he like walks up to her and he's just like, give me that damn bear.
I like how it uses the bear not only to tell us kind of why Chris Hemsworth has become crazy, but it's also like weirdly sad in a sense that like that bear is the only sense of innocence that he has. And like he's so crazy that he acts like a child because he's lives in a world where you can't have innocence.
Yeah.
So he acts like someone that would, like, you know what I mean? And I just feel like his character is told so well through just little moments and like very specific dialogue where you're just like, okay, now I'm starting to understand this character more.
Bro, I'm starting to laugh as I was thinking about something. Remember a scene where we had that like never pad thing? It's like this is a sequence of the gas down if it goes boom. The guys are typing and then just types it.
I remember that. No. Can we talk about the names of the Morton Joe's kids?
Yeah, they really gave up on those kids, bro. Like they just had
Scrotus
no
and Rectus. I'm like, Mom looked at me. She's like, "What the fuck did that just say, dude?"
Oh man, but
they gave up,
bro. I didn't watch the trailer, so I didn't see that face to face between Martin Joe and Dementis, and seeing that for the first time was so hard, bro.
Not only in the trailer below, but that was like a first look also.
Where was it?
Yeah, they also showed us like one of the first look images of the movie. And it kind of goes hard, to be honest with you.
Oh man, we're forgetting about talking about Furiosa's mom, man. She's such a badass, so cool. Bro.
She's so cool. And I love that they dedicate the first 10, 15 minutes to her more than anything. I mean, obviously it starts with Furiosa, but like you start to see Furiosa later on adapt to a lot of what her mother was at the beginning of the movie, especially when it comes to like her sniping skills. Like I feel like it's very like you see her mother in her by the end of the movie.
Okay, I need to ask you guys: Chris Hemsworth's wife in this movie.
Yes, she plays two different roles.
No. Is she technically the older woman from Fury Road?
I think so.
That's what I was thinking too.
I was thinking the exact same way when I watched it the second time.
I thought that the first time. I'm like, is she the older woman from Fury Road? Because she knew Furiosa straight off.
Yeah. It has to be. That has to be. But Charlie Fraser. That's such a Australian name, by the way. My name is Charlie Fraser. Anyways, she does such a great job as Furiosa's mom. Such a badass sequence, doing everything to get her child back. Even having that emotional scene is like telling Furiosa about the stars, trying to find home. Well, the stars came out later, but like the little what's it? The nun? Like the little red thing? Seed? I'll say.
Yeah, the seed.
Giving the seed, try to find home, try to find it. It was such an emotional scene. And then Furiosa, even as a young child, she's like, no, I cannot see my mom die. She goes back, try to save her. Unfortunately, it doesn't go her way. And seeing that sequence of the tears coming and seeing the history man, human tears, and that whole sequence, and seeing that zoom into the translation to the next scene of the eyes zooming into Furiosa's eyes, it's heartbreaking, man.
Can we talk about Chris Hemsworth in that scene with the tears?
Yeah, what's up?
He's like, "What's tears?" He's like, "There's something come out of the human body." He's like, "They taste pretentious and zesty." I started busting out
It was
laughing.
so weird. Yeah, you're like,
He's
what? Like,
look at
did
me.
he really
She's
say
like,
that?
"Did he just say zesty?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What is she? What do they think she is? She's some type of sauce."
Yeah, but but speaking of that, when they brought Furiosa, like the band brought Furiosa, to the Mantis for the first time since introduction, him being kind of like a likable character at first. It's like, oh, I'm like, oh, this is Chris Hemsworth's villain's role. Doesn't seem too bad. And then it takes a takes a turn right off the bat. I'm like, oh, he's crazy. Never mind.
No, I love how he's just sitting there. He just turns around with the white hood on and everything. He's like, "Oh, hello there." He's like, "What's your name?" It's like you kind of see if like, oh, take her off, give her a shower, give her food, give her everything that she needs. And he's like, "I will take you home tomorrow."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, maybe this guy's good. But before that, when the guys are going back to the Mentis, the thing that always gets me is one of the guys is like, "Who's coming after us? Your pa?" I'm thinking, fuck no, it's her mom.
Yeah, but dude, that's the thing about this wasteland. Women are not really respected. It's like a man dominant wasteland. And you see that in Ferry Road, you see that in Furiosa. That's why the sequence where Furiosa cuts her hair off and learns that she needs to not be a woman. She needs to act like a man to survive, which is terrifying for her. And she has to stay silent during the whole sequence. Because if she speaks, she's screwed. Essentially.
And that's the other thing too, is she's grieving in silence. And that is a whole nother strength of itself. And I like that the movie chooses to show how little she has to say, because she's been through so much that it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. But like the way she get captured is like an innocent kid doing some dumb things. It happens to best of us. I like that they did a little bit of Drax the Destroyer reference. Stay silent by like staying like in one spot. I'm like, Drax.
Yeah.
No, it's the scene of when Morton Joe and Dementis meets. He's like, Morton Joe's like, "Who is that?" He's like, "This is my daughter. It's little D." And he's like, "Where's her mom?" He's like, "Oh, she looks like, he's like, she don't even look like you." He's like, "She looks like her mom. She was great, a wonderful person, good looking person." And he's like, Morton Joe's like, "Girl, is this your dad?"
Yeah.
No. I start laughing.
You know what's crazy? The mechanic in that was part of the deal was the Furry Road.
What do you mean?
The mechanic.
The organ? Yeah.
Yeah, the organ.
Yeah. He's the guy in the beginning that's doing the tattoo.
Not only that, but he's the one when
with the baby.
Yeah, when technically it's Jason Statham's wife. When after she's passed away and they taken the baby out of her, that's the one who does it.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm saying, like, this is such a good prequel because there's so many characters in this that is from Fury Road. Yeah. Like him, or Morton Joe, Rectus.
Yeah.
Remember, he's in Fury Road also.
Bro, not gonna lie, at one point I thought Dave Bautista was playing Rectus for one scene. I'm like, is that Dave Bautista? I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. That ain't Dave Bautista.
He was the stunt double for that one scene.
No, but
I love the scene where Chris Hemsworth's nipples just get ripped off.
That's the comedy, though. I don't know if it's the comedy of George Miller or just the comedy of what Chris Hemsworth does.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a mixture of both. Because George Miller does have some humor in Fury Road. It is a dark story, so having a little bit of humor moments to like lighten the mood a little bit in a dark story, I think it's very important. But as long as it doesn't go too humorous, it has to be more serious than humor. But having those subtle humor moments, I think is very important in a like serious moment, like serious movie like this.
But back to what I was saying about the green place when you see Fury Road, when Furiosa is like she like kneeled down and cries.
Yeah,
Because in our heads we always thought like what the green place looked like, right? Like it's just probably a little tiny dystopian town and that's it. But you see in Fury Road that it's a bigger thing than we thought it was. And you
yeah,
could see why it hits Furiosa so hard in Fury Road.
yeah.
Because it meant
But
so much her to get back to it.
And I like how kept it is from the audience. Like we only get really like 2 shots of the green place outside of the scene with her in the forest, and that's it. Like we don't know much about the characters, we don't know much about the lore, we don't know about much of the origin, we don't really get a tour to see much of the life. It's literally like those 2 scenes, and that's all we get.
yeah,
But it works, it's enough because
yeah,
we've seen the rest of the world, and it's way worse than where they are.
yeah. But like, I love how the green place looks. It's such a beautiful looking place. It's like bright greenery. It's just like a beautiful place. But the scene hits you harder because Furiosa was taken as a child. Her childhood got stripped away. And seeing like the place that she grew up with gone, essentially, hits hits her deeply. And just having the emotions get it out is so incredible of how George Miller does that.
No, same here. And I don't know. I just feel like this movie does a really good job of just being well rounded and showing you every aspect of the wasteland in a
Yeah,
way to where like when you watch Fury Road, you can't unsee the context. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, now I understand this a lot more, even though it worked without me understanding it as much.
yeah. But let's talk about that sequence of the war rig and seeing the parachutes flying in and seeing how badass Ghost sequence was shot. Fast paced, classic George Miller action. I wonder how much stunt work, how many stunt people were on that sequence because it must take a lot. And it takes homage to the OG Mad Max being more like a racer, well, sort of a racer, sort of a racing cop movie, essentially. That's the best way I could describe the first film. But it does take homage to the OG a little bit, OG to the bike gangs that the original movie had too. I mean, and it just that sequence is just so cool to have these parachutes and seeing these different like the Warwick like arm too, and it's just such an awesome tale on how to use these vehicles as their own characters essentially.
And I also think it's really interesting in that scene whenever they bring in like the flying machine that looks very inspired by like Leonardo da Vinci's like original like concept, but it's like their version of it. That's like towards the end of the scene, and you see it go off, and they like pull it, and it's almost like a paraglider.
Yeah,
Like that's so like to me that's so cool because it builds the universe, but it also shows like a bare bones like evolution of humans figuring out airplanes again and figuring that out and being like, okay, like they took influence from like history itself. You know what I mean? It's just history repeating. And I just like just the little details like that with the action help make it such an interesting scene.
yeah. And then I like I was going back to the Metas and Joe rivalry. I just love how they have different politics stances. They're very different on how they want power. Joe's obviously doing the sex slaves way of getting these war boys. And you see that little sequence of Furiosa meeting the sex slaves, and she had to escape that really quickly. She understood what's happening. She had to take action. She took action, cutting her hair, escape, and then the next sequence you see Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa. That translation from uh, what's her name again? Isla
Elijah
Brown.
Brown.
Aliyah Brown to Anya Taylor-Joy felt so warring because of that.
Okay, I need to ask you guys: is Rectus a predator?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took that as he is somebody that was a predator. That's 1,000. Yeah, because the first time I saw it, it was very uncomfortable. But definitely with the second screening, I was
Because Sammy,
like
was
it
it
was even
you?
more uncomfortable. But it was like I realized what it was more. Like I was like, oh yeah, no.
Was it you that me and you were talking about, or was it that, or was I? I probably was talking to you.
I think
Either
we talked
you.
about like it was definitely like a weird sequence event. Like we were
Okay,
like, there's something off about like I don't like either way it was wrong, but I couldn't figure out like what it was. And
and I
now I'm like,
think
oh
Mom
no, it
talked
was
to me
definitely messed
also
up.
about it because she kind of thought that. I think she told me either when we were watching the movie or afterwards because it came off eerie, and especially I like because especially once we get the fast forward thing of when Anya Taylor Joy is like what 15 years during that
I
time
think
period
something like that, or she's like at least like a young adult by then.
that he's like, I recognize you. I'm kind of glad he looked at the wrong arm because if he looked at the other arm, she would have been screwed.
Yeah.
But also like I don't know. I like that the movie creates. It makes you hate the same people Furiosa hates.
Yeah.
Like, which plays off very well for how it ends and decides to end on like defining Furiosa's
Yeah.
character.
But remember during the sandstorm where they had to get like the car unhooked and they're like, we need someone smaller. No, you. They thought Furiosa was a guy. I'm like, oh, this plan is actually working for her. She
Yeah, I was just
does,
like, it's very convenient,
yeah, but like
like
the
a
I
way,
Clark
need,
Kent.
and then the way it's like, oh, you get these gloves now.
I
It's like,
need
well,
to
the
know
other guy
how
was a bitch about it.
I need to know how tall Anna Taylor Joy is because she is so short in that scene when you see the camera pan out of when that guy is trying to figure out who she is versus every guy that's in the room because she's
She's
like the
5'8".
shortest. She's 5'8". Who the how the hell?
They might have did like a digital thing with it. It might be
Yeah.
like
Unless
that
they
might have a
got really
lucky
tall guys to
effect.
go
I
be in
remember,
that scene.
like, speaking of that sequence, I remember when she didn't speak or remember Joe's name. She's like, oh, she's mute. I mean, he's mute.
He's mute. He's scrawny. He's tiny. I'm like, nah.
Movie
I love how
logic.
he's like, speak. And she's like,
I love that. Amar Joe. Amar Joe. Amar Joe. Oh, shit.
speak his name. He just broke his shoulder. I just broke his shoulder.
Remember me.
But let's get right into it. Let's talk about that big ass action scene on that the 25-minute action scene that we get on the war rig.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? What is the thing called? Because
The 40 something war.
not the 40
The
something.
40-day war.
40-day war. No, that's not it.
No, I'm talking about the this when we get reveal that she's a girl to Tom Burke.
Oh, you mean the scene we were talking about with the helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about that.
No, I'm gonna go more into it though, because to be honest with you, I think out of the whole movie except the ending, I think that is some of the because I think that action scene is better than the Bullet Farm action scene.
I think the different though. Like it's very grounded. It's very like on foot. Even with the war rig, like it's very limited space. Like when they do have vehicle combat, it's like it's what you would expect. It's not very open. But I don't know. I really liked the bullet farm scene. I felt like it defended itself enough to stay in the movie, and there was some really cool shots in it.
Okay, another scene I want to talk about is when they first meet the first war boy. When Dementus does, and they take this is great like color thing of when they take the gun and they're like, well, what's this is used for? This is to tell when somebody's coming and they just shoot the ground and you see Chris Hemsworth, he's like, he is all the red around him. And I love how he keeps the red in his beard. And so when he brings Furiosa to Immortan Joe when they're doing the trade, he just dyes her hair red also.
Yeah. Now I like that sequence when Immortan Joe and they're talking. It's like, I gotta go, gas tank.
Gastown go boom boom.
Go boom. Yeah. That sequence was hilarious. I mean, that works with Chris Hemsworth's line delivery. But I love the way that we saw the first war boy. There's like a arrow on his head or something, and then it's like, I'm looking for Valhalla. I'm looking for Valhalla. Is this Valhalla?
And it's like, no,
what the hell?
Chris Hemsworth's like, what the heck is this guy talking about? I'm looking for the Citadel. And then Chris Hemsworth's like, the Citadel what?
I love when they're trying to like, he's like, what does copious mean? It's like, a lot of stuff.
No, I love it. He's like, history man. What does copious mean?
Oh, I love the history man, by the way.
Yeah, History Man was cool. I like how they expanded that more too. Like they kind of mention it more in Fury Road, like especially with the end quote. But I like how they kind of show his role more in this movie, and like it makes it like in Fury Road, you pay attention to like the female history woman a little bit more whenever they're at the Citadel.
Yeah, but I also like the narration in the beginning. The person who was doing like the small narrations. I like that. Like it starts with narration.
I think that's the history man, right?
I think that's the history man, actually.
Yeah,
I want to say that's the History Man.
I think so. Anyways, I like how the history man like is in the film during very important sequences.
And I just feel like this movie spaces everyone out really well. Yeah. Like it knows when to focus on Furiosa. It knows when to focus on Chris Hemsworth. It knows when to highlight characters that we wouldn't even think we would need to remember from Fury Road. Yeah. It just does a great job of balancing everything. And it feels, even though it obviously is a Furiosa centric film, it takes its time to really be a Mad Max like wasteland movie. Like you just understand the better.
All right, there's a sequence I need to talk about. It's gonna hit me like a motherfucker. The sequence when Jack and Furiosa get like caught by Dementus.
That seems gnarly as fuck.
That's dark.
Yeah, that scene is dark, but I like the dialogue. It's like Chris Hemsworth's like, "You two break my heart because I have to get the dark Dementus out," and I'm like, "Holy shit, this guy is going crazy." The way he just straps him up with the car and, eventually gets the dogs. And then that sequence is where we finally know the Furiosa cuts her arm to survive. And then we see a little bit of Max there, like a tiny bit of Max.
So I want to know, do you think Max took her to the Citadel?
No.
I
think he just
passed out right there. So who took her then? Because remember, she passed out.
I'm pretty sure Immortan Joe's men find her.
Why would they throw her into the
Well, because they couldn't recognize her. They're like, when she was caught and it says, "I'm Furiosa" in the Citadel, they're like, "Oh, that's Furiosa. What happened to her?" Like, she was unrecognizable. Because remember, she had hair. Like,
what were you saying?
Remember, she lost her arm. She was looking different, and her hair was growing too. So it makes sense.
And I was thinking also, you know how Immortan Joe is always like, he has to have the most pristine women to become his brides?
Yeah.
And he realizes Furiosa is Furiosa. So, and he won't have nothing to do with her because her arm's gone now. She's not the pristine bride that he always wanted.
But also, like, I like how it kind of builds Dementus's, like it builds the revenge for Dementus even more. Because now this is the second time in her life Dementus made her watch someone that mattered to her get murdered and tortured and slaughtered. And like I said, I feel like this movie does a good job of establishing how much darker it is than Fury Road. Fury Road's a rough movie. It's a rough world, and its goal is to show you how rough the world is,
Yeah.
even at its worst moments. But it's not tonally a dark movie. It's just very it just has a lot of things in it that come off dark. This is a movie where it takes its time to be like, no, this is messed up. Like, we want to show you how messed up this is.
Yeah.
And like how dark humans can be. And it also, I mean, but it echoes a lot of like human history, like the way he crucifies her mother and like stuff like that. And you're just like, he goes to these extreme lengths. And I think it's also something to say that it seems like in this world, at least where Chris Hemsworth ages, he was alive when the world collapsed.
Yeah.
So that, to me, there's this weird, like, and I've been thinking about this a lot too, how there's this weird statement that's not really said about how, like, in this apocalypse, everyday average people's insanity could lead them to being a figure or a complete insane, like, person of power, where that wasn't a possibility before. They could have just been a crazy person online or an upset neighbor. And now they're like a dictator who is like slaughtering people for fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot to say there. And I really like that it does that, but it doesn't make that a highlight, you know?
Another thing I want to talk about is the sequence where, after the first time Chris Hemsworth met Joe, seeing the sequence where one of the war boys sacrifices himself, showing the loyalty to Joe, and they're like, "We have 120 men, and they will all do the same thing." I'm like, okay, that's fire. But I like this sequence where uh, Chris Hemsworth's like, getting this stuff and make you want the people a war boy to get that person to open the gates. And seeing that person not opening the gates and seeing Chris Hemsworth just killing those people, showcasing he is a selfish son of a gun person.
And it's just, I don't, I really, you can see where Chris takes the time to really not only understand this character, but become this character. And it's very horrific to watch him be these different things. But it also is interesting in how the movie parallels that to Furiosa, especially with how she chooses to go with the events at the end of the film.
Yeah. And like Chris Hemsworth, this movie doesn't make you say, oh, that's Chris Hemsworth playing this villain. No. I was saying this is Dementus.
Yeah.
I did not say, oh, this is Chris Hemsworth playing Dementus. I'm like, this is straight up Dementus. And seeing Chris Hemsworth, a person that I'm so used to playing hero, being Thor, seeing him becoming this menace and horrific and disgusting villain with such a great range of acting. And you really showed that in so many sequences that we talked about.
And he needed to have that moment in his career. And I think now is the best time for it. I also felt like his performance echoed a lot of Jack Sparrow, at least at the beginning of the movie. And kind of the nonchalant, like, sarcastic approach. But instead of like, ah ha ha, that's funny, it comes off like sadistic here and fucked up. Like when he murders the guy who owns Gastown, and then he's like, well, I forgot the code. And it's like, if it was like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, we'd be like, ha ha, that's Jack Sparrow, be Jack Sparrow, and then the music kicks and he runs off. And but here it's like, oh, he just fucking like pierced that guy's skull.
Yeah,
like
but
it's funny in a fucked way. Like
it's
it's
not.
I'm gonna go back to Furiosa, really into Furiosa. Seeing this sequence where she could have escaped from the bullet farm, but decides not to because she doesn't want to see another person that she cares about die, being Jack in this scenario, and I like that she has that sense of humanity. She's like, oh no, I gotta save this person no matter what.
And that's kind of like it shows the little compassion that she has, and that echoes from her mother, because when she doesn't kill her with the sniper at the beginning, it comes off as like that's one of the only acts of like care and compassion for people in the entire movie. And then the other parts of the movie is when her mother's getting murdered. She's also a character that can't just sit and let something happen. She feels like she's part of the action because of what she's had to go through.
Yeah.
So like with her mom, she's not going to just drive off and her mom get murdered. She runs to her mother. It's the same thing here with Joe. It's like I can't leave Joe. Like I have to, like I can do something. I know I can do something. I have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it's just that subtle decision making that visually conveys that, and it does it so well to where it carries the performance really well.
Yeah, but like the first time you really see Dementis be this awful villain is um Lady and Gentlemen, start your engines.
Okay.
And then
No, to be honest with you, during that scene, so mom don't like violent stuff like that. And I looked at her, I'm like, they're gonna rip this guy apart. And I thought they were gonna show that because of how dark this film was going at the beginning. I'm like, oh, we're gonna about to see a guy get ripped in half, like all together. But of course, I think that'll been a little bit too much for the rated R rating, and we just see like the dust and his body parts just separate.
Well, also I think he wants to focus on like instead of grotesque like violence and like gore, it's more of very grounded, like hard hitting violence. Like instead of showing us this body getting ripped apart and showing the blood and showing everything, we get the dirt compared to a minute before we saw someone get clocked in the face with a hammer and they're dead. And you hear it and you feel it. And it's like he's more focused on showing that awful aspect of violence and humanity versus like what's something unnatural and grotesque that the audience would expect us to highlight.
Yeah.
Like it's a once again him not giving you what you expect as an audience member, but showing you what you would want out of it or what hits harder out of it. And it hits harder to see these people that love each other and are like not necessarily love each other, but our community have to fucking kill each other to live.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's George Miller's directing style is like show not tell. And this Furiosa movie is a prime example of that. Because like Fury Road, he doesn't have to explain every single little bit of the story. Like he doesn't want the audience to make it too obvious. Oh yeah, we explain something that the audience will figure out easily by themselves. Like that's why I applaud this director so much. But I love the sequence when Furiosa comes back to Joe during the end. It's like, if you find him, he's mine. And they're like doing like a bait thing of, we're going to make him think we're going to Gastown, but really we're going there. Then the 40-day war little monologue, not monologue, little montage starts. And that was super awesome to see. But I love the sequence when we see the car it's just she perfect. And then it's Furiosa driving a car with like two tires.
And the wood plank just like dragging.
Yeah.
Well, I like that too.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
The two thing, like another scene I like is, Bilal mentioned this, the nipple scene. Because it's so, the nipple scene. Because he's so crazy right there, but it's the humor of he's like, ooh, have you ever had your nipples get ripped off before?
And he just looks nuts. Like it's just I think it's almost like a power play to show how crazy he is. So it's like you don't mess with me. But I don't know, I really like how Morton Joe's used in this movie too. To go back to that, like especially with his interactions with Furiosa, there's a lot of scenes, especially towards when she's getting older, where he starts to recognize her above his own children. And it's not ever discussed. It's not ever really like overly implied. It's simply by respect and look and acknowledgement of answer. You got to think she escaped being a breeder, and she's walking up to him with her arm off, like, that's my kill.
Yeah.
The fact she has the balls to even do that is insane. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a statement to like the respect that she earns through her hatred, which is very interesting. But I also think that plays into like that universe. It's like that tough skin, like, you don't mess with me. Joe's scared of her because he knows she's not gonna stop.
Joe should be scared of when, or because Joe died because of her. I mean,
But he sees that, like, he recognizes that ability in her. That's
Yeah.
like that drive, that look in her eye. That's like
Yeah.
she's not like the rest of them.
Also, shout out to Toes, played by Zoe Kravitz for Rome. When Joe dies, she just spits at him.
Yeah. That was also, there's a scene, and I forgot about this, where Charlize Theron and Nicholas Hoult like spit at each other, like right at each other's face. She turns around and spits on him, and then he spits back at her. And I never remembered that shit. And I remember watching that and I'm being like, what the, like, that's messed up, dude. Like, they really went out there and did that shit. Like, that's crazy.
It might be genuine because of how much feuds was on that set.
Well, it's also just like, it kind of shows, like, you know, in our society, like, spitting on someone is degrading.
Yeah.
So for them, it's just like the quick response. It's not even like a middle finger. It's not. It's like this fat, like, fuck you. Like, I don't know. It's just so cool how he makes these gruesome, like, rough details make the story and the characters even more interesting.
Yeah, and speaking of Furiosa, I like that there's like 5 chapters in this movie, and each chapter
It's like the Book of Furiosa.
Yeah, it's like a book. It's like,
I love that book.
I know. Is there actually a book called Book of
No,
Furiosa?
there's not. But it's kind of like it is.
Got me excited for no reason.
Okay, no. The hardest line in this movie, you know what line I'm going with, right?
Remember me.
No.
Do you know what it takes to make it epic?
No. It's the scene of when she gets in the car and she's riding off, right? To go get Dementis, and they're like, where she's going. And the guy's like, she's the 5th rider of the apocalypse.
Yeah, that was
So
fire.
that's the hardest shit.
I was like, it's over. It's so over. Like, they're gonna. What was that?
It's my chair. You have not been hearing that the whole entire podcast?
Sure?
Yeah,
You
look.
sure?
I don't know it's a chair, but I don't hear it now.
I don't think it's the chair, but
Yeah.
back to the.
Back to Furiosa, man.
Yeah.
Sammy, stop being distracted by a chair, bro. We got a podcast.
I'm not distracted by it. I'm just.
But okay, so let's get back into like that scene leading up to them. So I like you said, Bilal. She goes right up to Martin Joe. She's like, "It's my fucking time. If you see him, I get him. Your ass is not getting him." And it's the moment of I love because we all know it's like, when's she gonna cut her fucking hair? And it's like, okay, we get the end of the movie. And it's like, you see Charlize Theron like in Anya Taylor-Joy when you get it. It's a perfect thing of like, you use the same clothes, the same mannerisms, the same look.
Yeah.
And it's just the younger version.
I also like how almost anticlimactic the ending fight is between her and Dementis. Like, you know, she's after him. You expect this big thing,
Dude,
but it's just
when I saw this show at ended I
I
got
like that
so
shot.
fucking hyped, bro.
yeah.
I was the only one in my theater today, so I was able to scream a little bit. It was a good time.
Dude walks by the theater and hears Bilal screaming. That's
Yeah!
Yeah. Anyways,
but I love the shot of like when she looks back at them, and you see it in the trailers, like when she looks back at them, and then she gets right into the car.
yeah.
But,
Dude, speaking of this, I love how patient Furiosa is. You see someone wearing Dementor's cape thingy, but it wasn't Dementor's. It was one of Dementor's henchmen, and she's like,
So,
"Oh,
fun fact about like the guy who plays Dementus's henchman with a one
yeah,
eye.
we're one eye, yeah."
He actually plays Important Joe in the movie also.
Oh
Really?
yeah.
Yeah. So he
I did
played two
not know
roles.
that.
I think that's happened because the original actor who played Murder Joe sadly passed away. But also that actor who played Murder Joe played the main villain of the OG Mad Max, man, Toy Cutter, not Toy Cutter, Toe Cutter.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's cool that they kept them around and like I don't know, I just really love the universe that he's like built with this, where it's kind of it's two separate ones, but they're both the same.
yeah.
Like it's such an interesting way to go about it, and I don't know, I just like this pattern of making a movie and not having to explain everything. I love a movie that wants you to just ask questions about it and keep rewatching it and keep finding those answers or what
I
you think
want
those
them
answers
back, sir.
Okay,
are. No,
let's
I
get
want
Ryan.
them back.
Let's get Ryan to that. Let's talk about the ending.
Let's talk about it's super anticlimactic in the best way possible. And I think it hits more when you realize Chris Hemsworth is right. Like what he's talking to her about is very like you realize Furiosa's become this animal because of the revenge.
Yeah,
And he kind of like exposes himself because he's about to die and he's like this is like my world now. Like I had to make this my thing because it's a pit and like that's what we do. Like hope doesn't exist. And I think that's very interesting considering in Fury Road there's a line where Max tells her that there's no such thing as hope, so not to invest in
yeah,
it. She almost looks at him with this look of like it almost comes back like it's almost shocking to hear someone else say
Like
this.
PTSD a little bit.
Yeah,
Because
but
he
she's gonna
remember he
keep
says the
going.
line also when her and Jack are hanging when they got them because he's like, you guys believe there's hope, and he's like, there's no hope.
It's just,
yeah,
but I just like how they frame it. I love how we see how determined Furiosa is to like get him.
yeah.
It's really scary, but it's like it's earned. And I think I want to hear y'all's thoughts before I talk about the tree part because I
Oh
think
my god, yeah.
there's a lot to say with the tree. I
Like
think there's
what
a
you were
lot there.
saying, I think it's kind of like she's like a shark in water, and she smells blood, and it's the Dementus. And like you said, like Bilal said, they all split up. She kills one of them. She watches the other gets attacked, so she knows where the fuck he's going, and he's just going right through the sandstorm to get away from her. And I love how he thinks he can get away from her in the sandstorm, but she exactly knows where he is. She cuts his water bottle. She takes the tire off the damn bike. And it's the visual shot of it shows in the trailer also of when he looks up on a hill and she's just standing there. It's her shadow.
Yeah, that was so dope. But no, the dialogue during that segment. Oh, you have fired me. Look at you. you
But I also
freak.
like
You freak. Calls her a freak.
but
but
I also like
go
um
ahead. Sorry about
when he's running away. All of a sudden he just stops, he turns around, he walks towards her, she backs up the car. He walks some more, she backs up the car. And like once he gives up and he just like kneels down and he's like done, then that's when she stops and gets out.
yeah. But speaking of that sequence, you're missing one key part. The part where he chucks his gun at the car.
I love that
And he just
because that's
gives
when she
up.
stops and he's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta give up now."
Yeah. But speaking of what Sammy was saying, when Demeter says this isn't hope, this is hatred towards Furiosa. That parallel is great. Because Furiosa is sort of like Dementus. She is blinded with his pure hatred, and in a weird way, Dementus sort of won in this movie. In a weird way, I thought Dementus, even though he got killed, with that tree sequence, but I thought he won. He had the upper hand in the end before he died.
And I definitely think, and this is something I was talking about with my roommate that I watched it with.
Oh.
Oh, I felt like a lot of that scene where you're kind of he's acting. I think he's acting like he doesn't know her. I think he knows it's Lil D the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Because he almost
Yeah.
it's almost like he always is taunting people. He's an untrustworthy antagonist, so we can't trust what his words are or is like what he actually knows. And it's almost like he waits till he knows he's about to die to then give her that.
Yeah,
To then be like, hey, I remember you now. Because like even some of the dialogue before, like it's very like it's echoing in Mother. It's echoing like, why say all this if you don't know who it is?
Bro, you brought up a good point. This exact same thing happened while sort of happened in a Fury Road when Furiosa is about to like just like really hurt, and then Max says, "Oh, my name's Max." Isn't that kind of like similar in that aspect?
Where it's like towards the end, it's like it's acknowledging someone and like
Yeah.
you actually know who they are.
Exactly. But I love that Furiosa is like the way she punches Dementis, it feels so real.
His scream is so raw, and like when he gets hit with the revolver.
Yeah.
But I also like to get where it goes at the end. I like how no one knows the truth, and it's just very scattered because Dementus was like a godlike figure to some people. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be misinterpretations of his death. But also I like the tree is so fucked
Bro,
for many reasons. Yeah.
before we get into tree, let's just talk about like how awesome the shot was when Anator John when she was punching. You see like the blue and orange sky in the background. It's so gorgeous to
It's just
look at.
absolutely incredible, dude.
But I also like the piece of dialogue is, oh, if you're gonna kill me, just do it from the head. Like Demendes knows he's dead, bro. Like just do it from the head. Is like, oh, you're do it from the head. And also I like this sequence. It's like, I want them back when Anastasia Joy says that you took my childhood, you took my mother, you took everything from me. I want them back. She's viciously angry.
And I think it's also to show that like even when she thinks she won and to the audience she's won, Dementus is still like, I'm still messing with you. Like I'm still your enemy. Like I'm still have the upper hand.
Yeah.
And I think that leading into the tree, I think that is a big reason for why she goes to that extent is because it's like he's not scared of death.
Yeah,
He's not like I have to do something that he will that is torture.
Yeah.
That is very sadistic.
Yeah, but like it goes back to that teddy bear. She takes the teddy bear from Dementis after Dementis has like a seizure, and Dementis like, "Little D, is that you?"
I think you
And
faked that shit.
That's what I was saying. Like that's because he knows he's dying. You thought he already died. And it's almost like his way of being like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and reveal my trick one last time. But almost, I think something that I haven't seen people talk about with the tree is how it's a choice that Furiosa makes that defines it makes him right, even when she's trying to be on top. Because at the end of the day, planting that seed, her mother told her to plant that seed to regrow the green place. She chose to plant the seed as a way of vengeance and torture and hatred for Dementus. So she succumbs to what he says. And I think that also makes the home scene in Fury Road hit harder because it's almost like My seed was that important. That came out.
Yeah,
Like,
but
Furiosa seed was very important, and it's not. And it was used for hatred. It was used as a tactic to torture someone.
exactly. But I also like the narration before the tree scene, um, because we're wondering how Furiosa killed them. Oh, was it like a simple shot back at head, or was it the way that the Mendes was torturing his people? No, she used the seed to do the tree, which was disgusting, by the way.
And I don't want to know how that worked, but like either way,
Like did like
holy shit.
I mean, it was between his legs, bro. So how did that work?
But it's so grotesque that you don't ask. But it's also like it's a weird ending because it plays originally like it's a victory and it echoes the beginning of the movie. So it's full circle, right? But then when you really think about the idea behind it and what we learn in Fury Road, it's not really positive. It's very bleak.
Yeah. But speaking of that, I like how after the tree sequence, it leads into some like I'm thinking it has to be some deleted scenes from Favorite Road. Because we see Charlize Theron for a little bit, and you see the Five Wives, and the movie just ends with Furiosa taking the Five Wives to that little not bus, truck thing that they were in the first
War
film.
rig.
Warwick, yeah, I forgot the name of it.
And that's why I think this is the best prequel, because there's a lot of the times like for prequels there it takes like years, kind of like say for example like Wonka ends and there's like 20 to 30 to 40 years before Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where this is literally leads right up to Fury Road. And like for example, like mom didn't hasn't watched Fury Road yet, so she looked at me confused at the end of the movie like, why did it just end like that? I'm like, you gotta watch Fury Road to just lead right into it. And it's kind of like what people are saying. It's like a 1-2 combo. Like you can watch Furiosa and then just go watch Fury Road right after.
But even then, I feel like you get more out of it from watching Fury Road and then Furiosa, because it almost makes for me, it makes Fury Road like more interesting. Like it makes it stick with you longer because it's like, okay, what were these people? Like, what was this? And then you watch Furiosa and you're like, now I know that guy. So when you go and rewatch Fury Road, you watch it with that context and you can't unsee that context.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It helps build the overall arc of both movies really
exactly, and that's why prequel like this is so important because it makes you appreciate this prequel, but not only that, appreciate Fury Road even more. And it just shows that George Miller just loves his franchise. He's just bringing his life to it. I also really appreciate that this movie is a masterpiece to me, and Fury Road is a masterpiece. They're like both 5 out of 5 stars for me for different reasons. It's hard to choose which one's better because they're both like really different movies.
I agree with you on that totally.
There's a fly. I was just trying to kill.
well.
Anyways,
No, you're good.
Yeah. Is that mostly it for you guys for Furiosa?
Yeah,
man.
I think I've said everything.
So, what's your
Before-
guys' rankings of the Mad Max franchise so far?
Well, I'm the only one who saw all of them, though, right?
Yeah, give us your ranking.
5 is Beyond the Thunderdome. Mel Gibson with ridiculous hair, and gosh.
You were there.
Anyways, number 4 is the OG Mad Max. Nothing wrong with this movie. It is a great time, but it's just like really different from the other ones in the film, and it still has some really cool crash sequences. You really see this lone hero and Max unfold really well in this movie. And yeah, I mean, it's a fun movie. Counter number 3 is the best out of the prequels, Road Warrior. I actually really like this movie a lot. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Um, Storytelling is great. You start to see where George Miller's get his vision, because there's some action in this movie. It's like, oh shit, this is badass. And you really understand how much further this franchise went from Road Warrior. It's coming 2-1. I had to give it time, man. It's just hard for me to say which was my number one. So I'm just gonna give it a tie to Furiosa and Fury Road, because I love these movies for different reasons.
So for me, I put Fury Road still over Furiosa. Furiosa's just so damn good. What about you, Sammy?
I'm the same way, and the only reason why is because I think Furiosa has a very specific intent and a very specific message to the audience, while Fury Road is a more universal film. But as a whole, I would still, it's very neck and neck.
Yeah.
For me, Furiosa, like, as a character study, is a 5 out of 5. As a whole, I'd say is like 4.5 out of 5. I think Fury Road's a perfect movie. I don't really know what's making Furiosa not perfect for me. I feel like if I rewatched it again, I probably would think it's perfect. Like it's very in between.
Yeah.
It's in between 4.5 to 5 stars for me of Furiosa.
I definitely think rewatching Furiosa, you catch more details on the film, and that's what made me love this movie even more. And this is why I have this movie over Dune Part Two, because if Furiosa, I never felt bored in every sequence in this movie. I was engaged. Dune Part Two had a couple of scenes
now
that a couple of moments that I thought I dragged a little bit, to be honest.
And I think it's definitely different in like how they tell the story. For me, like Denis is a visual storyteller, but Dune is a lot of exposition.
Yeah.
It's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of politics. It's not Mad Max doesn't bother with that. It gives you the outline of that. It implies what it could be or what it is, and it just keeps going. And it doesn't let you sit to like process it.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's like personal preference. In the end of the day, I just prefer Furiosa over Dune. Dune is in my number 3 right now. I got Hitman over that.
Okay, so with that being said, let's a little bit of news this week, and one the holy shit that about fell. It's still about fell, but the box office totals have came out for this week, and Furiosa only made I think 32 million. Why do you think this thing bombed at opening weekend at the box office?
I just want to say it's because of Warner Brothers, man. Their like marketing wasn't the best for this movie. I mean, I didn't say any of the trailers, but I decided to watch some of the trailers, and some of the shots from the ending of the movie were in the trailer, and I think the marketing was pretty misleading, especially with.
I think for me it's two things. One, Memorial Day weekend was a weird choice to release it. I think it makes sense because Fury Road was, but the market was very different then. And I think a lot of families aren't super like movie theater centric on Memorial Day anymore. And the second thing is economically right now, especially in the States, I feel like it's just very unaffordable for movies. I've talked about it on here before where I've missed a couple movies that I wanted to go see because of financial reasons. And if you're taking the whole family or you're taking in general, like you're going to be spending good money. I mean, it's not something that's as accessible anymore as it used to be to people. So I think it's definitely has a lot to do with that as well.
I'm gonna get into my take. And I'm gonna shout out to Real Takes real quick. He's on TikTok. He came up with this also. So there's a whole bunch of things that caused this to.
Good luck, Dan. By the way.
Yeah. A shout out to Dan.
Dan
this was supposed to be filmed back to back with Fury Road. George Miller didn't want to do it after a while because I think of all the stuff that happened with Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy. He just got tired of that. Two, Warner Brothers sued the crap out of George Miller for some reason, and it was like a 3-year battle. Then by the time he wanted to start filming this, COVID hit. So that was affecting that. So it took him that long to film this. That's why. And plus, also, people are like, "Oh, this movie is literally it don't have Max in it." I'm thinking, shut the fuck up.
I've seen a lot
Because-
of people have
Bro,
that.
I was getting so pissed when every
No.
time I looked at like a promotion for this movie, they're like, "Where's Charlize Theron? Where is
No,
Tom
you know why-
Hardy?" I'm
no,
like,
no.
"Yo,
You know why I say shut the fuck up?
the fuck up. This
You
is
know
a
why I say shut the
prequel,
fuck
man."
up? Because it's Mad Max Fury Road. You see Mad Max mostly in there? Hell no. You see Charlize Theron as Furiosa, and that's most like Bilal said, it's a Furiosa movie. You got all these people think of the Mel Gibson movies. Oh yeah, Max is all in these movies. Literally look at what George Miller has done and appreciate, because you guys are just whining like little bitches and thinking that you can get what you want, and it's a movie. Just go watch this movie.
Yeah, it's a fantastic women-led movie, bro. Like, we gotta support it.
But besides that, I got 2 things to talk about, and Bilal, the third thing you're gonna get pissed because I just figured this out an hour ago. They posted this hour ago. One, we got Moana 2's trailer today.
Oh god, they actually make a second one. Oh
Yup.
Yes. Okay.
Comes
So
out this November.
So I'm gonna tell you the backstory of this real quick if you guys didn't know. This was supposed to be originally a Disney Plus series.
thank God.
And shout out to Stone, he put this in the video, so I'm getting this information from him.
Shout out
He's done the
Stone, Medical Man, something. What's his user?
Yeah, I think it's Stone Medical Man.
We love Stone.
But he said that this was supposed to be a series, which I kind of already knew that. And during the strikes, Disney was losing so much money from not only Quantumania, Indiana Jones, and then the Marvels. They thought, okay, we should just make this a movie because one, Moana is just that big, and it was the highest streaming movie last year on Disney Plus. They're like, okay, let's make this a movie. They had to recast everybody because, of course, it was a Disney Plus show. They dropped everybody, got the cast back so quick, like The Rock in them. Then how they got the director's not coming back. Lin-Manuel Miranda is not coming back for the music. And this is probably one of the best soundtracks in Disney history from this movie, especially for like the early 2000s, 2010s. And then you're going to just try to compact all these episodes into one thing, and I don't even know if they've rewritten this. So they're just trying to compact all these episodes into a movie, and they're just like, I feel like it's rushed because, of course, there was Moana. The Rock announced that there was going to be the live action, and all of a sudden, this just came out of nowhere. And they normally announce Disney movies like 2 or 3 years ahead.
And also, this movie wasn't originally supposed to come out this year. It was supposed to come out like next year, and they moved it.
No, that was the live action one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Which is very just, I don't know. I feel like as much as I want it to be a success, like, I just don't, like, I feel like Disney's one of those studios now that, like, you can't fully trust what they're going to release until you watch it. It's the same with Inside Out. Like, Inside Out doesn't have Pete Docter involved at all. So I'm kind of like,
think this comes out on Thanksgiving weekend, right?
Yeah.
Past 3 years, Encanto, Strange World, Last Year Wish. There was never a Disney movie releasing this year on Thanksgiving, so they needed one. So they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do that also."
And it'll make money.
I think it will make money, not Thanksgiving weekend though, because a lot of people don't go to the movies on Thanksgiving weekend, and also Wicked comes out the same day. So it's got to compete with Wicked.
Yeah, but Wicked's owned by Disney. So either way, Disney's winning.
No, it's owned by Universal.
That's Universal? Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out Ron Grande.
And plus the week before that, what comes out? The Gladiator 2 comes out literally 5 days before that. So
Paramount's in the...
I still think Moana will do well that weekend. Like it's a massive franchise. it's got a huge fan base behind it. And either way, with those options, it's the only like massive mainstream child option or family friendly option. So I'm sure many people are gonna go see Moana or like Disney heads, you know.
So our second piece of news: have you seen any of Mike Flanagan stuff, Sammy?
I don't think so.
Like Hill House, Fall of the House of Usher, Hush, Doctor
Say
Sleep,
his name one more time.
Mike Flanagan. Have you seen
Doctor
Doctor Sleep?
Sleep. Yes.
I have not seen Doctor Sleep.
So below, you saw my video, right? I posted.
Oh, I saw Gerald's game.
So so you know how David Gordon Green got dropped by Jason Blum because his Exorcist movie was ass?
Yeah.
It was rumored that Mike Flanagan was supposed to be the next director, and they just confirmed it technically yesterday that he's going to be the new director.
Why did they make it known?
No. So this is it. His story is not going to be a sequel. They're throwing that whole David Green story out. They're going to do 2 movies, but they want to do a fresh idea with Mike because Mike's going to write it, produce it, and direct it. So Blumhouse is giving him full control over this movie. And you see what he has done with Doctor
If they
Sleep.
do better than David Gordon Green, then we'll see what happens.
And I thought The Exorcist Believer was kind of like a one-off. I don't know how you could have done that story unless if you put like Reagan in them in like different movies.
I think everything's better than David Gordon Green.
To be honest, Halloween Ends is getting worse with me right now. But you're
maturing. It's good to see.
Kills in 2018 is good though.
That's the only good one from David Gordon virus.
I said Kills is good.
Kills,
18. So our last piece of news, which they posted this 2 hours ago. Below, he gonna get so pissed. Sammy, me, and you are gonna be eating tomorrow.
But wait, what's this?
Guess what's gonna be released on digital tomorrow?
What?
Godzilla -1 in America.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, we're not going to type in Knives Out 3?
Oh shit! I forgot about that. Okay,
yeah.
Bilal, this is your jam right now. Let's talk about Knives Out 3.
Where's the cats, bro? Hold on.
I know it's Josh O'Connor. Someone's like, I didn't know Josh O'Connor was in Challengers. I'm like, dude, he's like one of the main people in that movie. Well, Sammy, have you still watched Challengers yet?
Oh, nope. Shit. Again, Glenn Close is going to be in this too?
Yeah, they just announced that today.
Kerry Washington?
Yeah, they announced that also.
Enter Scott? Kelly Spaney? Holy shit, bro. Josh O'Connor? Oh, I'm liking this. I'm liking this cast so far. I love the first 2 Knives Out movies so much. They're like my comfort movies. I wish
Netflix. Say any spoilers for Glass Onion. I haven't seen it yet.
Watch Glass Onion. I wish, speaking of Netflix, I wish they released Glass Onion on physical.
I feel like they will one day.
I think it'll be Criterion.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like Criterion.
I mean, like, it feels weird that Knives Out is not on Netflix, but Glass Onion is. And like, if I know they're different stories, but I wish I could just watch them back to back.
I hope they give.
I hope they get the rights.
I wish they could give Wake Up Dead Man a longer theatrical release and like give a worldwide release, kind of like how Apple Plus has done with like all their movies.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just give it its space.
But Bilal, do you have anything else about Knives Out 3?
Kelly Spaney is in it, and I'm happy with it. She's killing it. Shout out to Kelly Spaney.
Shout out.
Amazing performance in Priscilla. Her career best performance in Civil War. She's about to be Ella Romblas. Now she's about to be in Knives Out 3. Like,
you know, she's in Pacific Rim 2, right?
Oh, why you had to put that up, bro? Come on, man. I hate that movie. Bro.
Just turn it off. Just turn off the. We're done. We're literally
Piece
done.
of shit. Come on, man.
It's over. The whole podcast is done.
So, guys, I think that's about it for the episode. So, if you guys are listening right now, if you guys haven't followed us yet, hit that follow button because this is what you get every week, by the way, if you guys didn't know.
What's so
Also,
funny?
You two are so damn serious right now.
What is so funny?
Why so serious? But
I
if you
wasn't
guys are
acting.
guys, let me do the outro.
Let me do
Guys.
the outro, please. Can I do the
No.
honors?
No.
No.
Okay,
You know
you try.
outro.
You try it then. It's
Anyways,
Bilal's turn this
guys,
week.
that was a great episode. We talked about Furiosa, talked about Mad Max, a little bit of news. Sammy's looking like a rapist.
What was that? What was that, bro? That look is done. That look is done.
But guys,
Archived in the vault.
with Bilal, thank you for watching this episode. If you guys are listening
Watching
to
this,
us,
Bilal, thank you for watching this episode. You know,
thank
You're
you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
guys for watching this episode. I said thank you guys for watching this episode.
I swear I heard my name, man.
No. But if you guys are listening right now, if you don't follow us yet, hit that follow button. Give us a rating also. And comment. If you guys are watching us from YouTube right now, hit that like button and give us a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I can see right now. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications because it will tell you guys when you post our podcast episodes like this, reviews, because we got our Bad Boys 2 review coming out this week, which Sammy hasn't watched. I am really excited for you to watch Bad Boys 2 because there's a certain scene that they belong.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Okay, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button,
turn on the bell notification.
Oh shit!
It would tell you guys whenever we post podcast episodes, reviews, and especially the shorts I got coming out soon.
Stop doing that face, bro.
But if you guys are not following us on our social medias, I'm posting more on TikTok. I'm gonna post clips every day. Of course, Instagram, X. But guys, when you hear us next time, it will be for episode 19 of the Cinematic Boys reviews when we do Bad Boys 2. And I think next week we're gonna try to find something next week because I'm gonna try watching The Violent Nature. Probably try to get that Garfield watching. Sammy gonna try to watch anything?
I'll probably finally see Challengers, but we should do an I Saw the TV Glow episode.
I can't. They're not showing it for us.
Not Nashville?
No. And
that's weird.
Bilal, you gonna watch anything this week?
What's coming out this week?
That's the problem. This is gonna be a dead week for us.
I might see Hitman again.
This dude gonna see Hitman, guys. But guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.
What is coming out this week? That's
I don't know.
Okay, but I guess we're not leaving, guys.
Wait, what? Oh, MBKL. My bad. Shit.